Okay, good morning. Welcome to yoga. I want to say a shout out to all of Kara's kids too, who are maybe joining in on the replay. So I'm Mickey, and this is my So Fine studio, and this is Sunday morning gentle yoga. So let's go ahead and start out in any position that feels comfortable. We're just going to do a little talk about the yamas this morning. And so you can either lie on your back in a comfortable rest position, maybe constructive rest with your knees tented together, or if you want to just come to a seat, that's fine too. This month of March in 2021, we're exploring the yama called asteya, and asteya means non-stealing. So it is the third jewel of the yamas. The yamas are yoga's ethical practices, how we interact with the outside world. And so some of the things I've been thinking about in terms of non-stealing. So the book by Deborah Adele talks about how the third jewel of non-stealing calls us to live with integrity and reciprocity, and thinking about ways we might steal from ourselves, from others, from the earth, and even from our own future. So when we compare ourselves with others, we can find ourselves either lacking, which makes us feel cheated, or we can find ourselves superior, which leaves us feeling arrogant. So that would be a form of stealing, is just even comparing ourselves to other people and what they have. One way that we can build our capacity for non-stealing, and we were talking about this before class, is this idea of Adikara. So this is a Sanskrit word. It means the right to know or the right to have. And the word challenges us to the reality that if we want something, then we better grow the competency required to have it. So sometimes when we want to do something, we just really need a lot of practice with that. That's something that's really come up for me a lot in my classes right now. I teach math as well, and some of the students have been, cheating and weren't able to pass the class. So everything we really want takes a lot of practice. One other thing I've been thinking about just in my own personal life when it comes to non-stealing is even my conversations with other people. Like, how much airspace am I taking up? How much of the conversation am I taking up? Am I allowing the other person to listen? I have sort of an issue with interrupting people. So just thinking about that. So if you want to set an intention today, that word is called a sankalpa. If you want to set an intention for your practice, you might even think about this concept of non-stealing. What are some ways in which you can not steal from yourself? And that can even just be giving yourself time to relax and balancing effort with ease. So let's all come onto our backs. If you've been sitting up, and we'll come into constructive rest pose. So if you have blocks, that can be helpful for class, or if you have a strap, that can be nice as well. Maybe a blanket or a bolster. I'm going to get my blanket out of the way. So once you're on your back, go ahead and bring your palms onto the side of your belly. Allow your knees to tent together. And just start to expand your breath into your belly. Notice the rise and the fall of your hands. And then bring this intention that you set for your practice to mind. Maybe it's a word or a phrase, something you'd like to cultivate, or even something you'd like to release. Allow that intention to plant itself at your heart center. And just start to notice the expansion of your ribs. You might even feel your breath expand into your back body. You can notice the contact that your body is making with the floor. And then you can release your arms, stretching them out to the sides, and allow your knees to gently fall over to the left while your gaze falls over to the right. Inhale, come back to center, and exhale, we'll switch sides. And just allow yourself to windshield wiper your knees from side to side as you gently send your gaze from side to side. With each movement, you might notice the sensation in your body. And then once you come back to center, we'll draw the knees into the chest. You can wrap your hands around the back of your thighs, or if you have a strap handy, you might wrap your strap around the front of your shins. And just gently allow the knees to rock from side to side, massaging the low back. And then we're going to release the hands off of the shins or the back of the thighs. You might wrap your arms around your shoulders. So you're giving yourself a nice gentle hug. And then begin to rock the knees from side to side, allowing them to hover, using the strength of your core. If you need a little bit more support, you could spread your arms wide to the side so you're using a little bit of leverage on the ground. Try to notice the strength of your core as you gently bring the knees over to the side without landing them on the ground. And then we'll take one more breath here. And this time, go ahead and land your knees on the right. And we'll roll over to the right side. You can either prop your head up on your hand, or you can rest your head on your bicep. And you'll have your knees coming out to the side at 90 degrees. Let's glue the heels together, and then you can begin to lift the knee using the strength of your glute. So we're doing a few rounds of clamshells. Take your own pace. And keep a smooth, steady breath. Finding that engagement in the outer hip. When we strengthen the outer hip, that can help support the knee in some of our lunging positions. You can even make this a little more challenging if you have a TheraBand. You could wrap it around your thighs. And then we'll glue the knees together and begin to just lift and lower the left heel. Kicking the left heel up towards the sky. And if you want to make this a little more challenging, you could even lift the right heel. And take a few more rounds on this side. And then when you're ready, we'll come into a twist. So leaving the knees glued down together on the right side. You can extend the left arm open. Maybe send the gaze over towards your left fingertips. And relax into the twist. Take Take one more nice deep breath here. And you can interlace your hands behind your head. And then you might pulse your nose up towards the sky, finding some activation in the core, in the obliques, side waist. And when you're ready, you can relax that effort. And take one more round of relaxing into your twist. And then we'll draw the knees back into the chest, coming onto our back, and gently rock a little bit from side to side. You might take your hands on your knees and gently draw a little circle with the knees, finding a massage for the low back. When you're ready, you can reverse the direction of the circle of your knees. And then we'll roll over to the left side, bringing the knees out in 90 degrees. Start by relaxing into your twist. Maybe sending your gaze over towards your right fingertips. Sending breath to any areas of tension or holding. And then when you're ready, you can roll your torso onto your left side. You might bring your palm to rest on your temple or allow your head to lie on your bicep. And then you can glue your heels together and begin to pulse the right knee up towards the sky, using the strength of the glutes, finding that activation of your outer hip. Keeping a steady, smooth breath. You can take as many rounds as feels good to you. As I mentioned before, if you have a TheraBand, you might wrap it around your thighs, maybe create a little more resistance. And we'll take one more nice deep breath here, and then go ahead and glue the knees together and begin to pulse the right heel up. As I mentioned before, you could lift the left foot, make this a little more challenging, or keep the left foot on the ground as you pulse the right heel up. Flexing the toes towards the knees. And when you're ready, you can relax that effort and open back up into your twist, extending your right arm out to the right. You might send your gaze over to the right. Just allow that right shoulder to relax towards the ground. Taking some nice deep breaths. And then when you're ready, we'll interlace the fingers behind the back of the head and just begin to pulse the nose up towards the sky. Finding some strength in the outer obliques, the side waist. Whenever you're ready, you can relax that effort. Enjoy the twist once more. Take a nice deep breath, sending the gaze over towards the right fingertips. And then we'll roll onto our backs. Bring your knees in towards your armpits, and you can stretch your feet up towards the sky. You might walk your hands up towards your ankles, imagining you are in a squat, standing on the ceiling. You could even reach your hands to the outside edges of your feet and find happy baby pose. Allow yourself to gently rock a little side to side. You might kick one leg long as you land on the opposite knee. Just really feeling massage of the back against the floor. Maybe curling the outside edges of your lips up towards your ears in a smile. Whenever you're ready, you can release the feet, and we'll land the feet on the mat with the knees pointing up towards the sky. Let's walk the heels in towards the sit bones as much as you can. And then with the palms pressing down next to your hips, let's inhale, lift the hips, coming into bridge. Exhale, gently lower the hips back down. Inhale, let's fan the arms up overhead. So you're reaching them, rainbowing them up. Allow the fingertips to press up overhead, reaching the biceps past the ears. And then exhale, lower the hands down next to the hips. Let's inhale, lift the hips up into bridge. Exhale, lower the vertebrae back down one at a time. Inhale, rainbow the hands up overhead. Exhale, lower the hands back down towards the hips. And you might even curl the head up to look between the knees. Lower the head back down. And on your inhale, you can lift the hips into bridge. And this time we'll hold bridge for a few rounds of breath. And you might shimmy the shoulders underneath the body, interlacing the hands behind you for a bind. Energetically, you could drag the heels towards the sit bones and tuck the chin towards the chest. On your next exhale, you can release the hands and roll the spine back down one vertebrae at a time. And then we'll lift the heels back up, and you can point the feet up towards the sky, point the arms up towards the sky, and just give yourself a shake. Shaking the legs, shaking the arms, moving the lymph. And from here, we'll come into an upside down tabletop. So you're kind of pressing your low back into the mat, allowing some engagement in your core. Imagine you're standing on the ceiling in a tabletop position, your knees at 90 degrees and your palms pressing on the ceiling. You can stay like this, tucking your chin towards your chest, or on the next inhale, you can stretch your right arm and left leg long to hover. Exhale, draw them back to center. Inhale, left arm, right leg, extend. And exhale, draw it back to center. Go ahead and take a few more rounds at your own pace. Inhaling to reach the opposite arm and opposite leg long. Exhale, drawing it back to center. Let's take one more round on each side. When you're ready, you can wrap your hands behind the back of your thighs and begin to rock and roll up and down the length of your spine. Whenever you're ready, you can rock up to a seat. And once you find your seat, you can come to a cross-leg position. I've been trying to cross my legs the opposite way as what I'm used to give a little bit of relief to one of my feet. Let's bring our hands to heart center, and then you can interlace your fingers. Press the palms forward as you round the spine back like cat pose. We'll inhale to press the palms up as you lift the heart. And then with the next exhale, go ahead and turn to the left, and you can release the hands down, coming into a twist. You might set a block behind you. Maybe bring your right hand onto your left knee and send your gaze behind your left shoulder. Take a nice deep breath here. And with your next exhale, allow your chin to trace the front of your chest. And you can send your gaze behind your right shoulder. You might close down the eyes or soften the gaze. And then we'll release, coming back to center. If you'd like, you can switch out the cross of your legs. Let's interlace the hands now the awkward way. And then go ahead and press the palms forward as you round the spine back. Inhale, we'll rise to center, straightening the spine up towards the sky, lifting the gaze. And then you can turn to the right this time and release the hands down. You might plant the right hand behind you or on a block. And then you can bring your left hand onto your right knee and send your gaze behind your right shoulder. With each inhale, finding length through the spine. And each exhale, you might be able to twist a tiny bit more to the right. Take a nice big inhale, and on your next exhale, you can allow the chin to trace the front of the chest. And then turn your gaze past your left shoulder. On the next exhale, you can release the twist, coming back to center. We'll inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale, bring the right hand down to the ground beside you as you reach the left fingertips up and over. You might lift your gaze up towards your fingertips if that feels okay for the neck. If you'd like to bring a little bit more support, you can bring the hand behind the head, bending at the elbow. If your hand is lifted or if your hand is lowered, either way, we're going to bring the elbow now down towards the knee on your exhale. So if your hand is lowered, you just if your hand is lifted, you just reach your hand out in front. Inhale, open back up, pointing the elbow back up towards the sky. And go ahead and take 2 more rounds like this. Exhale, draw the elbow or the hand down towards the knee. Inhale, open it back up. Exhale, lower one more time. Inhale, open it back up. Reach the fingertips up overhead. And then inhale to come back to center. Exhale, we'll go to the other side. Land the left hand down. Oh, we have a visitor. Hi. And reach the right fingertips up overhead. You can lift your gaze, stretching through the neck. Maybe you bring your hand down to support your head. You might even allow your fingertips to massage the base of your skull. And on your exhale, we'll bring the elbow towards the knee. Inhale, reach it back up. 2 more times like this. Exhale, reach the elbow towards the knee. Inhale, open back up towards the sky, looking up. And one more time like this. When you're ready, you can reach your arm back up overhead. Reach the arms up towards the sky. Let's interlace the fingers, press the palms up. And then on your next exhale, allow the hands to fall down in front. Slowly sending breath into the shoulders. When you're ready, we're going to come over into hands and knees. So one way to get there would just be to rock over your shins and spin your heels behind you. Or you can rock over to one side. I have a block in the way. If you have a blanket, you want to pad the knees, you can always take a blanket, a folded blanket, and place it under the knees. And we'll come into a tabletop position for a few rounds of cat and cow. You want to do some cat pose, Luna? So inhale to drop the belly, reaching the heart through the biceps. Exhale to round the spine, drawing the belly towards the spine. For cat pose, inhale for cow, and exhale for cat. Go ahead and take a few more rounds of cat and cow at your own pace. After your next round of cat and cow is complete, feel free to continue on with that movement, or you might decide to explore other movements of the spine. Maybe you begin to trace a big circle with your belly button. Imagining you're tracing the inside of a hula hoop. Go ahead and reverse the direction of your circle. And if you find any places that are particularly interesting or you have a lot of sensation there, feel free to hold that position for a breath. You might bring your head and neck into the movement. Go ahead and take one more round here. And then we'll come back into a neutral spine. Allow the big toes to touch and open the knees wide, sink the hips back, and walk the hands out for child's pose. If your forehead doesn't quite reach the mat, you could always bring a block under the forehead. Or you could, if you don't have a block, you could make fists with your palms or with your hands and stack your fists to make a pillow to rest your forehead. Take a nice deep breath in your child's pose. And allow your heart to really melt towards the floor. Feeling the support underneath you. And allow yourself to relax all effort. We'll take one more nice deep breath here. And then you can walk your hands over to the right, reaching your left arm long. You might turn your gaze underneath the right armpit, resting the left temple, finding a side bend all along the left side from your left fingertips all the way to your left hip. Imagine your breath like the wave of an ocean, crashing down along the left side. And then when you're ready, we'll walk the hands over to the left this time, reaching the right arm long. You might turn your gaze underneath your left armpit, allowing your right temple to rest. And send the breath down the right side body from the fingertips all the way to the base of the hip. And then we'll come back to center. Take another deep breath in your child's pose. And then we can press up to hands and knees, walking the knees back underneath the sit bones. Let's plant the palms a little forward of the shoulders, and then you can tuck the right toes under and press the right heel towards the mat, lengthening through the back of the right leg. Finding a stretch for the calf. And then we'll switch sides, bringing the right knee back. You can tuck the left toes under, pressing the left heel towards the mat. It's almost like a half downward facing dog. And then if you're ready, you'd like to take a downward facing dog, you can tuck the right toes under and lift the right knee. And then take a moment to walk out your dog, pressing one heel at a time towards the mat, sashaying the hips a little side to side. You might shake your head no, nod your head yes. And then we'll walk the feet to the hands or the hands to the feet to come into a forward fold. I'm going to clear my blanket out of the way, off to the side. And just allow yourself to dangle here in your forward fold. So you might wrap your hands around your opposite elbows. Allow yourself to ragdoll from side to side. And then we'll release the hands down towards the ground. You can bring the hands to your shins or to blocks, and we'll inhale for halfway lift with a flat back. Exhale to forward fold, and then go ahead and bend into the knees. You can roll the spine up one vertebrae at a time. We'll meet at standing. Inhale to reach the arms up overhead, and exhale to bring the hands to the heart center. Inhale to reach the arms up overhead, and exhale to swan dive forward. Inhale for halfway lift. Exhale to forward fold. And then you can bring your hands out in front, walk your feet behind you for downward facing dog. On the next inhale, we'll come forward to a plank. And you might lower your knees down for a supported plank. When you're ready, you can roll all the way down to your belly. And we'll stack the palms and rest the back or the forehead on the back of the palms for Crocodile Pose. Allow the breath to get really into the back body. So imagine the back tortoise shell growing bigger and stronger through your breath as you relax your effort. And now we'll go ahead and release our hands behind us. Oh, so there's a cat in the way. And bring your gaze over to the left. So bring your right ear towards the mat. To do this, I need to tuck my toes under and press my chest a little bit forward so that my temple can reach the mat. And then I'll untuck my toes and soften your effort here, sending your gaze over to the left. Just feel the pressure of the earth against your temple. And then with your next inhale, we'll use the strength of our spine and our back to rise up into Locust Pose. Keeping a soft gaze, you can lift the feet, lift the arms, and find strength through the back body. With your next exhale, you can relax all of your effort and bring your left ear towards the mat. So you'll turn your gaze to the right. Allow yourself to soften, relaxing your effort. And then we'll come back to center, and this time you can bring your hands out in front with your elbows underneath your shoulders. This is called Sphinx Pose. So engaging with the core, you can press the palms on the ground and energetically drag them back as you reach the heart forward for a back bend. You might roll your shoulders up towards your ears and then roll them back and down. If that felt good, feel free to take 2 more rounds, rolling your shoulders up towards your ears and allowing the shoulder blades to cascade down the back of the back really. And one more time, shrugging the shoulders up towards the ears, and exhale, allow them to glide down the back. And now we'll bring the right, actually I'll do the left first. The left forearm out in front. So the left forearm is parallel to the front of your mat. You can bend the right knee and reach the right hand behind you to grasp hold of the foot. Pointing your elbow up towards the sky, maybe turning the heart a little towards the right. If you can't quite reach your foot, you might take a strap and lasso the top of the foot. On your next exhale, you can release that side, and then we'll switch sides. So bringing your right forearm in front, parallel to the front of your mat, you can press into that forearm, lifting the heart, and then bend the left knee, reach around with your left hand to grasp hold of the top of your foot. Take a nice deep breath here. With your next exhale, you can release that side. Let's bring the arms out beside us in the letter T. And then you'll begin to creep the left arm behind you as you roll onto the left side. Allow the left temple to rest on the mat. And you can stack the legs, opening through the shoulder and the chest. You could stay right here, or if you'd like to deepen this sensation, you could bend your right knee and allow the right foot to land behind the left leg. Another option would be to take a bind, so you could reach your right hand down, bend your right knee, and grasp hold of your right ankle with your right hand. Take whichever variation works for you today. Remembering the concept of asteya, non-stealing. We're not going to steal from ourselves by comparing ourselves with others. Just respecting where our body is today. Noticing what feels best for us. We have a lot of options. And if you're in the bind, you can flex the toes towards your knees to engage the legs. Allow that right knee to fall down towards the left knee. On the next exhale, you can release the grip of your foot and then roll onto the belly. We'll get ready for the right side. So if you have any props in your way, you can press them out of the way. And then rolling onto the right side, you can creep the right hand behind you as you roll onto your right side. Allow the temple to rest. Stacking the legs. You might find whichever variation works best for you, either leaving the legs stacked with the knees or the toes flexing towards the knees. You might bend the left knee and plant the left foot behind you. Or maybe with that bent knee, you can reach down with the left hand to grasp hold of the ankle to come into a bind. Just noticing the sensations and maybe the variations from left to right. Allowing that left knee to fall down towards the right knee and continuing to engage the legs by flexing the toes towards the knees. And we'll take one more nice deep breath here. With your next exhale, you can release the foot and we'll roll back onto the belly. Let's plant the palms underneath the shoulders, tuck the toes under, and you can press up either through plank or table. If you're in your plank, you might take a few rounds of breath in plank. And then we'll all meet up when you're ready in a tabletop position. Let's go ahead and tuck the toes under, and then you can walk the hands back. Maybe you bring the hands onto blocks, or maybe you come to sit upright on your heels. So your toes are tucked under. We call this broken toe pose. So I'll just turn to the side so you can see my heels. And I'm using the blocks to moderate so I don't have as much weight in my feet. Take a few nice deep breaths, sending breath down into the toes and into the feet. You might offer the feet gratitude for all the places they take you. Giving them some special attention. If you have a tennis ball, you might even use the tennis ball later to roll out the feet. Just give them a gentle massage. Let's come off of the feet now, untuck the toes, and give them a nice little tap. And then we're going to come into Camel Pose next. So you can come up into celebration. So we're standing on the knees. And if you do need more padding, feel free to take the blanket back under the knees. Inhale to reach the arms up overhead. And then with your next exhale, you can bring your right hand down to your back, imagining you're sending your hand into the pocket of your jeans. Go ahead and reach the left arm up. You might tuck your toes under here just to make a little bit more room for the heel to come up. And maybe you can reach the right hand down to the heel and reach the left arm up, sending the gaze up. On the next inhale, we'll reach both arms up. And then exhale for the second side, bringing the left hand down to the pocket of your jeans, pressing the hips forward. You might even lower the hand onto the heel and reach the right arm back. And then we'll inhale the left arm up. This time we'll exhale, bringing both hands into the back pocket of your jeans as you press the hips forward for camel. If it felt within reach, you could walk both hands down to the heels. Or if you had blocks, you could bring the blocks next to the heels and bring the hands onto blocks, maybe one at a time. I'm going to keep the hands at my back pockets. On your next inhale, we'll reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, bring the hands to heart center. And then you can remove the blocks if they're in the way. Come back to table. And let's rest in child's pose. So bringing the knees out wide, bringing the toes together, and walking the hands out in front, lowering the forehead down towards the mat. Remember, you always have the option to bring the floor up towards your forehead by stacking the palms or the fists. With your next inhale, we'll come back to table pose. The knees underneath the hips. And let's inhale to reach the right arm up towards the sky, looking up. And then exhale, you can thread the needle under Bringing your right shoulder to the ground, resting your right temple. You might continue to prop up your weight with your left hand. Or if you like, you could walk your left fingertips out like child's pose. Or maybe you swivel the left hand around and allow the back of the hand to rest at the low back. Maybe you can even reach those left fingertips over towards your right side waist or your right thigh. With your next exhale, we'll bring the left palm back underneath the left shoulder. And then inhale to reach the right hand back up towards the sky. And exhale to release this side. On your next inhale, open the left arm up, gazing up. And then exhale, we'll thread the needle under, coming onto the left shoulder. Allow the temple to rest. And soften your effort. You can continue to support your weight with your right palm underneath your shoulder, or you might walk your right fingertips out in front like child's pose. Or finally, you could spin that right hand around, allowing the right arm to rest on the back with the palm facing up. Maybe your right hand can reach towards the crevice of your left hip or onto your left thigh. Allow yourself to soften all of your effort. On your next exhale, you can slide that right hand back down. Press it underneath the shoulder. Inhale to open up, reaching the left arm up towards the sky. And then exhale to release that side. We'll walk the knees forward towards the wrists and come onto the seat. And then go ahead and bring the knees facing upwards. And you can slide the hands behind you with the fingertips facing towards your hips. And then you might walk the heels in a little bit. We'll inhale to lift the hips to come into altar pose. You might keep the gaze at your navel towards the sky, or allow the gaze to fall behind you. On the next exhale, you can lower the hips. And we'll walk the feet a little forward, bringing the hands out in front for a modified boat pose. And you can stay right here, or if you'd like to balance in boat, you might bring your hands behind your thighs and come up to balance on the tailbone. Maybe reaching the hands out in front. And whenever you're ready, you can slide yourself back onto your back. Let's walk the feet in. And you can bring the left ankle over the top of the right thigh. You might stay just like this to stretch through the outer left hip. Or you could draw the whole shape into the body. Or you might even just lift, bringing the left foot in towards the body. Maybe cradling the hand around the foot. Drawing the foot towards the chest. For a modified figure 4. On the next exhale, we'll release that side and then bring the right foot to cross over the left thigh. You could stay right here or draw the whole shape into the body, or you might just lift the right leg towards the body, maybe grasping hold of the shin and the ankle, bringing the knee towards the armpit, the foot towards the chest. Whenever you're ready, you can stay here for a little longer or maybe explore any other poses you'd like to take before your final resting pose, Shavasana. So whenever you're ready, you can start to relax into your corpse pose, Shavasana, maybe closing down the eyes, allowing the arms to rest heavy at your sides, extending your legs long, allowing your feet to open up towards the sides. Maybe you have some other supports that can help you in your relaxation. You can bring a bolster underneath the knees or a pillow. You might want to cozy up with socks or even drape something over the eyes to block out any light. Once you arrive in your final resting pose, go ahead and bring your intention back to mind. Maybe the intention you set was to think about asteya, non-stealing. And this week you might allow yourself to just notice in conversations, am I stealing someone else's airtime? Am I giving and receiving equally? Finding that balance. Am I waiting for someone to finish talking so that I'm not stealing their opportunity to finish their thoughts? Am I comparing myself to others, stealing my own opportunity for joy and personal development? How can I develop more of my own Adikara, my personal capacity through practice? And then just allow all of your thoughts to fade away. Imagining your thoughts are like puffy clouds in the sky. You can allow them to drift by, coming into this present moment. Allow yourself to fully relax all effort, softening through your forehead, softening through your eyelids, relaxing the hinge of your jaw. Releasing your shoulders down to the ground. Start to sense all the places that your body is making contact with the earth. And feel the abundance of the earth rise to support you. Feel your unique imprint on the ground. Really allow yourself in this present moment time to relax, time to rejuvenate. Offer yourself gratitude for showing up today for your practice, You're welcome to stay in this resting position, or you might begin to reawaken the body. Maybe inviting a little movement into your fingers and toes, gently rotating your wrists and your ankles. You can inhale to reach your arms up overhead, finding a long body stretch, and then walking your feet in towards your sit bones. You can shift your hips over to your left, maybe rolling onto your right side, cradling your head onto your bicep. Go ahead and rest in this fetal position for a little bit longer. And then whenever you feel ready, you can press yourself up into a seat. Invite your hands to meet up at your heart center. And allow your head to humbly bow towards the wisdom of your loving heart. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me this morning. Namaste. And that means the light in me sees and honors and appreciates the light in you. So thank you so much for joining me today.